Compo Cleaner 2.0. This thing blows. It blows really hard. You might have noticed that sometimes you need an air can or a compressor, if you have one, to blow dust through basically anything. In most cases it's used for computer parts. Those get really dusty like laptops. The problems with compressors are that compressors cost a lot and they take a lot of place. Air cans don't cost a lot, but they are one-time use and not really powerful either. So I figured this thing could be really helpful, and I'm actually using it for already 2 years. I plan to do this review for a long time. So let's check it, let's check what it is, and let's check whether you actually should buy this one. So you're watching Andres Reviews. Let's get to it. I've bought it for $46. You may think it's a lot, but actually if you factor in how much you pay for the air cans, and those are single-time use, paying $46 just once is a great value in my opinion. That's alright. It's not that dirty actually. This thing is actually very powerful, much more powerful than air cans. It's got a couple of nozzles, so you may see those. I tend to use this one the most, so I haven't really used these much, for the reason that this one is the most powerful one, for the obvious reason that the nozzle is so narrow. And actually if you want it to be less powerful, you just move it further away and the air scatters. This thing got two speeds, low and high, and when you're taking the high speed with this nozzle, it blows really hard. I mean, like really hard. You need like to make sure you don't blow too hard. Actually, there are some big components. If you blow too hard on them, they may actually bend, so that's not a good thing. But as per the power, this thing is really good. As I've said, it's got two speeds, which is great. 2 speeds is totally enough for me. For light work I use number 1, for the high load I use number 2 if I need something like to blow really hard. And it's reliable. As I've said, I own it for 2 years, used it, I don't know, maybe like 20 times already, and this thing is very reliable. No issues whatsoever. Works just great. It's also very ergonomic, but I don't think ergonomics is something you're looking for when you're buying something like this. There are a couple of cons though, so let's start with those. It does get hot a little bit, right? So when you're using it for more than, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes already, it, like the motor inside, gets hot. And when it gets hot, the airflow gets hot. I'm okay when the airflow is hot, however, it gets hotter and hotter, and I'm getting afraid that this thing may overheat. I never took it to the place where it did overheat, but when it becomes hot, I feel a little bit of unease there. So even when you use your vacuum cleaner, it's the same thing. With time, when the motor works, it gets hotter and hotter, and that's the way it is. One also very interesting thing, I'm based in Europe right now, and this is an American appliance. When you buy a cell phone from the US, you may use it in Europe. However, something like this not, because this is 110 volts. Not sure if you can see it. Let me take the sticker out. So this appliance is 110 volt, 110, 120. And it means that if you try to use it with 220, which is commonly used in Europe, it will blow. It will not, I mean, it will explode or it will break. Something will happen, it will not work. You will break it. So in order to use it with 220 systems, 220 power sockets and volts, you have to use a converter. Luckily, I do have this converter. In itself is a great product, needs a review probably, but it's very simple actually. Bought on Amazon, quite cheap also. So when you use a converter, you may use it in 220 volt sockets, no problem, like this. However, you cannot use it without a converter. But if your power grid provides 110, 120 anyway, it will work for you. It's not really a con, it's not a disadvantage, it's just like this appliance cannot work with 220 grids.
This is my old computer. It's not really dirty, you know. I used my vacuum cleaner to take all the possible dust, but vacuums are not known to be good for this thing, so try and lightly... Nice. Whoa. You know what? Much better than those compressed air cans. Much better. And infinite, right? It uses electricity.
Another con that does not exist in the air cans, let's say. Air cans do not have it. And it may be a big thing for some applications. Dust. So there is a dust filter here. Let me show it to you. This is the original dust filter that used to be there. And I used a little bit of female stockings to make it more granular, to make it filter much more dust. The reason for that is that when dust travels through it, it gets inside and it works just fine. It gets through. However, that dust particles blow through and it may blow into the appliance you're trying to clean from dust. And if it's something like a PCIe slot, something very, precious that you don't want to have any dust particles in there, so your GPU when it gets in, it doesn't get any interference. This may be a problem. It has never been a problem for me. I just think that if you have some dust particles and they blow through and they get inside of the appliance really hard, after that it will be really not possible to get them out. So a slight disadvantage there. However, never caused any problems for me. I just think it may cause. And really, that's about it. That's all the cons. The pros are much more significant. Let's really disassemble it. Let's check what's inside and let's call it a day. Okay, so what are we going to use our automatic Bosch or maybe the Manta set from iFixit? I think both can work. This works just fine. However, if we can, why not save some time? Whoa, this one is too deep. Okay, this one is too deep. Manta sets from the iFixit and Bosch are too wide to get in, so I get a typical screwdriver. Is the best option here. Tried and best. Nice. This looks to me decent. Quite decent, in fact. All the wires are properly soldered. It seems quite simple, actually. Simple mechanism to suck in air, but in general, really satisfied with the quality. The cable is great, braided. Yep, not much to say there, guys. Looks like to be a high quality, made in. It's made in US, California. Things like these make life much more easier. I'm really glad and happy that I have bought this Combo Cleaner 2.0. Andre's reviews rating, highly recommended, highly recommended. You may watch similar videos on this channel. Everything's falling, come on. Please feel free to roam around, and as always, thanks for watching. It will be nice to see you back here again.